Hello again, friends. Here is a lesson on dividing with polynomials. We're going to do a method called synthetic division. Now, for my regular, not pre-AP, not Algebra 2, for my regular Algebra 1 students who are learning synthetic division, there's going to be 2 times when we cannot use synthetic division. You're going to have to find another way to divide if these 2 conditions are not met. Okay, so first of all, you have to make sure that all your divisors, so if this is the top, this is called my dividend, and this right here will be my divisor. Okay, my divisors, that's the bottom. I'm talking about the divisors here. All my divisors should have a leading coefficient of 1. If that were a 2 or a 3 or anything else, we cannot use this process I'm about to teach you. So let's double check. Do all these have a leading coefficient of 1? Yep, and yep, etc., etc. We have to verify that. The second thing we have to check is to make sure that my bottom, my divisor, also has a degree of 1, meaning the highest exponent I can have down here is a 1. All right, if this was squared, I cannot use synthetic division. So let's verify that. Is that a squared? Nope. Is that a squared? Nope. No squares, we're good. Okay, so we can use synthetic division, the process I'm about to teach you. If you want my extended notes, go ahead and copy my extended notes from the notebook. Regular, that's page 121. Pre-AP, that is page 127 for you. All right, here we go. Let's get ready to divide. Also, there's one error here. Let's change that. That needs to be a plus sign before we get started. Okay, here we are. Let's start. Step 1, we're going to do the setup. The setup. You want to begin with something that looks like this. Okay, you can think of it as a half of a rectangle or an L with a really long bottom, whatever you want to think of that as, that's what we're doing. But it needs to be 2 stories tall because we're going to write on this line and then we're going to write underneath it as well. So make it nice and tall. Okay, now we're going to take our divisor. We're going to take the constant part of our divisor, not the variable part, the constant part, the number part. That's a -4 right here. We're going to change the sign. So if it's negative, now we're going to make it into a positive number. And we're going to bring it right here. So that's going to be a +4. Okay, see, it used to be negative. When I bring it over here, it's positive. Then, for your dividend, the top, you're going to take all the coefficients and constants. In other words, take out all the m's and give me only the digits, the numbers, okay? So right here, what is the coefficient of m squared? It's going to be just that 1, right? So I need a 1, skip a space. Then I need that -9, skip a space. And then I need that +20. Remember, we changed it to a positive? Otherwise, this problem doesn't work like I need it to. All right, and then right here between the -9 and the 20, I'm going to drop a perpendicular down here in the basement. You guys ready? That is the setup. So how did we set it up? We made this little half rectangle shape. We took the constant part of our divisor and we changed the sign. And then we took all the variables out and brought only the coefficients and constants, only the digits inside here at the top. Okay, now get ready. Step 1 for dividing. Drop it like it's hot. Okay, bring that 1 down. Well, let me do it in this color. 1, okay? Now, whatever ends up below this bar is going to be multiplied by this number here outside. Okay, so 1 times 4 equals what? 4. Good. Now we're going to add these 2 together. When they're stacked, we add them. So what is -9 plus 4? -9 plus 4. And we get what? -5. Now, what did I say? One more time. Whenever it ends up below this bar, we're going to take it and multiply it by this outside number, by this 4 in this case. -5 times 4 is what? 20. -20. I lied. -20. All right. And once again, when they're stacked, we add them. What do we get? 0. Okay, so we are done with the synthetic division part. What we need to do now is, just like we took our variables out, we need to put our variables back in. Okay, this is how we do it, always in this order. Whatever is here in this walled off section, this is going to be our remainder. So does this problem have a remainder? Nope, no remainder. Pretty nice division problem with no remainder. This right here is going to be our constant. Okay, and then this right here is going to be our x to the first power term. If we were continuing on, if this was a much larger problem, like say m to the 5th power divided by, if it was a much larger problem, let me show you what I mean. Look at this example right here. Do you see how this is a much larger division problem? I've got x to the 4th power, x to the 3rd, x squared. If I'm giving you a problem like that, then your answer will also be much longer. And you would continue on 0 degree, 1st degree, 2nd degree. The next number you'd have would be x squared, etc., etc. So it doesn't stop here, but for my regular on level Algebra 1 student, we're going to stop it right here. This will always be your x term. This will always be your constant. This will always be your remainder. Okay? So take that 1 and put an x on it. Take this constant. Remember, make sure you always use a plus or a minus sign. This one's negative, so it's a minus. And that is your answer. And there's no remainder. Okay? Now remember the fact that this 1 probably won't be in your answer choices on a multiple choice situation, so get used to not seeing it there. All right? I'll accept either one, but this is what it's going to look like on a multiple choice test. All right, moving on. Let's do another one. Okay, 2c squared plus c minus 15 divided by c plus 3. Let's set it up. I'm going to go a little faster this time. Okay, you take your constant part of your divisor and you do the opposite. It's positive here. I'm going to list it as a negative. Then you take your dividend. You take all the coefficients and constants and you use them and you leave the variables out of it. So that's a 2. It's a 1c. So I'm going to put a 1. And that's negative 15. Then I'm going to drop my perpendicular down here so I can wall off my remainder and not get that confused for part of my answer. All right? Well, not get that confused for part of my polynomial anyway. Okay, ready? Let's do this. Step 1, drop it like it's hot. 2. Everything down here gets multiplied, so 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Now add 1 and negative 6. What do they equal? Negative 5. Multiply. What do we get? Negative 5 times negative 3. What do we get? Positive 15. Add. We end up with 0. Once again, no remainder. What's my answer going to be? Don't forget to put an x back on that term. My answer is going to be 2x minus 5. No remainder. Okay? Let's do an example with a remainder. Here we are. So this whole column, I forgot to say, there are no remainders in this column. And that's so you can make sure you're doing it right. I'm telling you in advance. If you end up with a remainder, you know you got to fix it. You did something wrong. Okay, over here, all of these have remainders. All of them in this column. Okay, so here we are. Bring that over, negative 2. All of my coefficients, that's going to be a 1. So 1, negative 12, and negative 1. Don't forget to wall off your remainder. Step 1, drop it like it's hot. Then anything down below this bar, we multiply it. 1 times negative 2, negative 2. The worst thing you can do is guess. If you need to type that in your calculator to get it right, then do that. Don't guess, okay? Here we are, negative 12 plus negative 12. We add, and you get what? Negative 14. Please verify that you get negative 14. Don't just believe me. You need to be able to get that on your own. If you're adding extra minuses or negatives, you're going to mess that up. So double check that you're doing it correctly. Negative 14 times negative 2 gives me a positive 28. Add, we end up with positive 27. Okay, now let's add our variables back in. Wait a minute, have I been doing x's the whole time? I sure have. Oh boy. This is an A, so we're going to use an A this time. We're going to do it right. Remember I used x's. Look, that's supposed to be an M. Oh boy. That's supposed to be a C. I'm not fixing it. Here we go. Let's use our A. So 1A, or just A, minus 14. Okay, that's how we would normally start off. But miss, what about the remainder? Well, this is what we're going to do with the remainder. It's positive, so I'm going to put plus. You take your remainder and you put it over your original divisor. What's the original divisor of my problem? A plus 2? Oh yeah, A plus 2. That is my final answer. So how do we do it? We put our quotient, I'm going to write answer, plus remainder over divisor. That's always how it is. That is always how it is. Please note, if you write this, compare please. If you write this, I'm going to mark you wrong. That is not the same as what I have here. The only part of my answer that should have a fraction bar is the remainder. Do not extend that out and make one mega-sized fraction bar, okay? Here we go, moving on. So now you know what to do when you get a remainder. All right, do you know what to do when you have a ghost term? Oh yes, the ghost term. Here we go. All of my division problems need to show all terms, and all terms need to be in descending order. My polynomials need to be in standard form with no missing terms. Okay, so what I mean by that is, notice, power of 2, power of 1, no power at all. Power of 2, power of 1, no C powers at all. So second degree, first degree, 0 degree. Okay, once again, second degree, first degree, 0 degree. And over here, we jump from second degree to 0 degree. Where did my first degree go? Okay, so this is not normally a big deal, but in a division problem, oh yes, it is. We need to put that ghost term back in as a placeholder. Okay, so he's still dead. It says 0 in front, but he's there as a placeholder. That's why he's a ghost. Okay, now, after you put your middle term back in with your, first degree, you don't have to write that, but it's there, 2, 1, 0. After you fill that in, now you can proceed as usual. The problem will not be any more challenging than your usual normal problem. So we'll put this out here. That's going to be a positive 4. 1, 0 as our placeholder, and negative 16 are my coefficients. And it's all going to work out just fine. Drop it like it's hot. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. And you see there's no remainder. Okay? Put your, this time it's an N. Don't do like me. Don't call everything an X. This time it's an N. So we're going to do 1N, and that's a positive 4, so put plus 4, and there's no remainder, so that is my answer. Okay, that concludes your synthetic division lesson. Good luck.